Jai Ho Radha Madhava Jai Ho Kunja Behare. Jai Gopi Janna Vallabha Jayo Giri Varadhari Jayo Giri Varadhari. Shodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Shodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Munatira Vanachari. Jai Ho Radha Madhava Jai Ho Kunja Behari. Jai Gopi Janna Vallabha Jayo Giri Varadhari Jayo Giri Varadhari. Shodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Shodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Munatira Vanachari. Jai Ho Radha Madhava Jai Ho Kunja Behare. Jai Ho Radha Madhava Jai Ho Kunja Behare. Shri Radha Madhava ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. This morning we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 14, Shloka 50. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Antar bahiś cāmalam abja-netram sva-pūruṣecchānugṛhīta-rūpam pautras tava śrī-lalanā-lalāmaṁ draṣṭā sphurat-kuṇḍala-maṇḍitānanam antar bahiś cāmalam abja-netram sva-pūruṣecchānugṛhīta-rūpam. Pautras tava śrī-lalanā-lalāmam. draṣṭā sphurat-kuṇḍala-maṇḍitānanam. Please chant. Abja-netram. Mataji? Sva-pūruṣecchānugṛhīta-rūpam. Antar within, bahiś without, cā also, amalam spotless, abja-netram lotus eyes, sva-pūruṣa own devotee, icchā-anugṛhīta-rūpam, accepting form according to desire, pautraḥ, grandchild, tava, śrī-lalanā, beautiful goddess of fortune, lalāmam, decorated, draṣṭā, will see, sphurat-kuṇḍala, with brilliant earrings, maṇḍita, decorated, ānanam, face. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Young grandson will be able to see inside and outside the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose wife is the beautiful goddess of fortune. The Lord can assume the form desired by the devotee, and his face is always beautifully decorated with earrings. Purport. It is predicted herewith that the grandson of deity, Prahlāda Mahārāja, would not only see the personality of Godhead within himself by meditation, but would also be able to see him personally with his eyes. This direct vision is possible only for one who is highly elevated in Krishna consciousness, for the Lord is not possible to see with material eyes. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has multifarious eternal forms such as Krishna, Baladev, Sankarshan, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Vasudeva, Narayan, Rama, Nisimha, Varāha and Vāmana, and the devotee of the Lord knows all those Vishnu forms. A pure devotee becomes attached to one of the eternal forms of the Lord, and the Lord is pleased to appear before him in the form desired. A devotee does not imagine something whimsical about the form of the Lord, nor does he ever think that the Lord is impersonal and can assume a form desired by the non-devotee. The non-devotee has no idea of the form of the Lord, and thus he cannot think of any one of the above-mentioned forms. But whenever a devotee sees the Lord, he sees him in a most beautifully decorated form, accompanied by his constant companion, the goddess of fortune, who is eternally beautiful. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinna Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tvishe Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Ghora Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Anchakalpatarubhishya kripa sindhubhya evacha patithanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So here in this shloka we have Kashyapa Muni describing to his wife Diti the future of her sons and grandsons. So he can see the future. He's predicting what will happen after many years. So Kashyapa Muni is the seer. He can see the future. Here in this verse we have the word draṣṭā. He will see the Lord. Also, it means the seer, one who can see, draṣṭā or drik. So Kashyapa Muni, he is draṣṭā, he is the seer. Like nowadays, there are some psychics who supposedly can see something in the future, but Kashyapa Muni was the real psychic, the real seer, who could see with great certainty what will happen in the future and predict. So Prahlāda Mahārāja, grandson of his and Diti, he'll be also draṣṭā, but not ordinary seer. He'll be the supreme draṣṭā. He will be able to see the transcendental form of the Lord, whose form cannot be seen by material eyes. And the beauty of that form is described in this verse, abja-netraṁ. He'll have a lotus eyes and sphurat-kuṇḍala-maṇḍitānanam. He'll be decorated with the brilliant earrings. So what is exactly that form that Prahlāda will see or that he saw? It's Keshava Dhrita Narahari Rupa, the form of Nrsimhadev, Narahari, half man, half lion. But it's the same Lord Keshava, Lord Krishna, Adi-purusha, original person, and he assumes different forms in order to reciprocate with his different devotees. So question now is, where and when will Prahlāda Mahārāja see the Lord? So here the Kashyapa Muni is just giving in general that he will be able to see the Lord, but we want to go into details. Where and when? It's also described in the verse where it's antar, inside, and bahiḥ, outside. Means inside of himself, inside of his heart, and outside. We sing Bahir Nrisimho, Hridayam Nrisimho. And then question when? When he will see him? Is he going to see him only when he appears on the pillar? Or at some other times also? Only once in a lifetime for short few minutes? Or more? All the time. He will see him all the time, before that appearance and after that appearance. And he will see him not only internally but also externally. Even after the Lord appeared, he will still be able to see him externally. How is that? Where? Well, in the 5th canto, we have in 18th chapter the island of Jambudvip described. If you know the Bhumandala description, the central island is called Jambudvip. On the southern tip of that island, it's a Bharatavarsha section where we are. And then on the north of Bharatavarsha, the Himalaya mountains, and then after that comes Kimpurusha Varsha, and then Hemakuta mountains. So after that, these Hemakuta mountains, there is one Varsha called Hari Varsha. So in this Varsha, Prahlāda Mahārāja will be able to see the Lord constantly. So here in the 7th verse of 18th chapter of 5th canto, Shukdev Goswami, he describes that. He says, "My dear king, Lord Nrisimhadev resides in the tract of land known as Harivarsha. In the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, I shall describe to you how Prahlāda Mahārāja caused the Lord to assume the form of Nrisimhadev. Prahlāda Mahārāja, the topmost devotee of the Lord, is a reservoir of all good qualities of great personalities. His character and activities have delivered all the fallen members of his demoniac family. Lord Nrisimhadev is very dear to this exalted personality. Thus Prahlāda Mahārāja, along with his servants and all the denizens of Harivarsha, worships Lord Nrisimhadev by chanting the following mantra." So Prahlāda Mahārāja, he resides in this Harivarsha, and all the fortunate denizens of this Harivarsha, they all worship Lord Nrisimhadev, who is present there. So what is that mantra by which they worship the Lord Nrisimhadev? Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya Namas Tejas Tejasya Avir Avir Bhava Vajra Nakka Vajra Damshtra Karmasha Randa Randayatamo Grasa Grasa Om Svaha Abhayam Abhayam Atmane Bhuishta Om Kshaum. It's I remember many years ago when I was just a new devotee coming to the temple, somebody told me there is a one mantra, very powerful mantra. If you chant that mantra, your heart will be spotlessly clean, become spotlessly clean. So I took it seriously and chanted it for a few months, every day. But then certain things start to happen in my life. My material life basically started to crumble. So I got very afraid. oh my God, what I did, this mantra is destroying my life. I have to immediately stop. So what is the meaning of that mantra? Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimha. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Narasimhadev. Namas Tejas Tejasya Avir Bhava. Oh my Lord, you are power of all power. Tejas Tejasya Avir Bhava. Please manifest yourself within me. Vajranaka Vajradamshta. You have thunderbolt nails and thunderbolt teeth. Karmasha Randa Tamo Grasa Om Svaha. Please vanquish desire for fruitive activities and ignorance within our hearts. Abhayam Atmani Bhujta Om Kshaum. And make us fearless in struggle for existence by appearing in our hearts. So it's a prayer to Lord Narasimhadev to destroy these powerful material desires within our hearts. So if we sincerely pray, He will certainly do that, but it may be painful. It's like Lord Narasimhadev is doing the surgery on open heart. So your material life outside might start to be disrupted, and you might start losing objects of your attachments, and that's why it will become painful. But eventually, as the result of this surgery operation that Lord is doing, our heart will become free from these desires of fruitive activities. So how is that Prahlāda Mahārāja is able to always see the Lord both internally and externally? Why can't we see Him like Prahlāda Mahārāja? Is there any trick that we can also see the Lord like that? Well, the answer is yes. If we become absorbed in Krishna, as Prahlāda Mahārāja was, then we will also be able to see Him. The level of absorption of Prahlāda Mahārāja, it's very clearly described in the 4th chapter of the 7th canto. I'll just read some shlokas that we get an impression how absorbed he was. So from the very beginning of his childhood, Prahlāda Mahārāja was uninterested in childish playing. Indeed, he gave them up altogether and remained silent and dull, fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness. So he's just a 5-year-old boy, and he has no toys. He doesn't play. Just a look at some children that we know, or our own children. They're very, very much absorbed in their playing all day, running here and there with a different sort of toys. But Prahlāda Mahārāja, he was completely uninterested in that. He was Krishna Graha Grihitattma. Krishna Graha. Graha means planet, and also means to grasp. That's why planets like Mars, Saturn, Jupiter, they have power to grasp the mind, and through this to control our life, to control our karma. But there is a supreme planet called Krishna Graha. So Prahlāda Mahārāja's mind was completely grasped by this planet of Krishna, Krishna Graha. And his mind was fully absorbed in Krishna, that he could not understand how the world goes on, being fully absorbed in activities of sense gratification. So his mind was fully absorbed in Krishna, but everybody else's mind around him was completely absorbed in sense gratification. So Prahlāda Mahārāja was always absorbed in thought of Krishna, thus being always embraced by the Lord. He did not know how his bodily necessities, such as sitting, walking, eating, lying down, drinking and talking, were being automatically performed. Because of advancement in Krishna consciousness, he sometimes cried, sometimes laughed, sometimes expressed jubilation, and sometimes sang loudly. Sometimes upon seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Prahlāda Mahārāja would loudly call in full anxiety. He sometimes lost his shyness in jubilation and began dancing in ecstasy, and sometimes being fully absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, he felt oneness and imitated the pastimes of the Lord. Sometimes feeling the touch of the Lord's lotus hands, he became spiritually jubilant and remained silent, his hair standing on end and tears gliding down from his half-closed eyes because of his love for the Lord. So by seeing his bodily features when he was in perfect ecstasy, persons very poor in spiritual understanding became purified. In other words, Prahlāda Mahārāja bestowed upon them transcendental bliss. So if we see Premi Bhakta experiencing these Ashtasattvika bhavas, immediately we become purified. I don't know if you saw sometimes on a video, Srila Prabhupada singing. It's an awesome, scene just to see him, and his hair standing on end, and tears flowing from his eyes. It's very, very purifying, just to see, what to speak to be in the personal presence of such a person. So the answer why we don't see the Lord, either inside or outside, is that our mind is absorbed in something else. It is grasped by some other graha other than Krishna. What is that graha that our mind is grasped by? It's a graha of material emotions, of material happiness and distress, of anxiety, of fear, resentment, sense enjoyment, so many mental transformations. There's normal everyday worries. Just try to remember what was the last thing that you worried about, and how much your mind was absorbed in it. So there are millions of thoughts that come and go, constantly coming through our mind. It could be anything: personal disagreements, family discord, business problems, health issues, what will we eat, how will we sleep, how we will save money, how we will earn money. Prahlāda Mahārāja, he was not aware at all of his bodily functions like eating and sleeping, what to speak about other things. These bodily functions, they were just happening automatically by the grace of the Lord. His mind was completely with Krishna. But in the conditioned state, the chitta vrittis, the transformations of the mind, the movements of chitta, of the mind and the subtle body, when it's constantly, thoughts are coming and going, in that state, it's very, very difficult or impossible to become absorbed in Krishna or in Krishna consciousness. To be Krishna conscious means to be constantly absorbing Krishna. Krishna consciousness is not just some set of cultural rules and norms like wearing dhoti, neck weights. Krishna consciousness means literally be conscious of Krishna all the time, not conscious of my dress, my hairstyle, or other things. So absorption in these other things that are not Krishna stems from what? From misidentification with this body and everything connected to it. So from ahankara, aham mameti, our false material identity. Demigods in the third canto, they pray, Yat sanubhande sati deha gehe, mamaham ityudha duragrahanam. O Lord, persons who are entangled by undesirable eagerness for asati deha gehe, for temporary body and kinsmen, and who are bound by mamaham, by the thoughts of mine and I, they are unable to see your lotus feet. We cannot see the Lord and His lotus feet if our consciousness is completely entangled in this aham mameti, which is not letting us absorb our mind in Krishna and have darshan of the Lord. So we might be going through the motions of devotional service externally, we can be doing deity worship, we can even hear and chant. But our mind can be somewhere else. You know, how many times, you know, we sit in a class and we think about something else, or we chant and we think what we are going to do during the day. This is not absorption in Krishna, it's absorption in aham-mameti. Yeah. And this is also 10th aparāda, the holy name, which is given in Padma Purana, Shrutvapi, Nama Mahatmyam, Ya Pritir Ahitto Adhama, Aham Mamadi Paramo Namni, So Api Aparada Krit. So person who is Adhama, who is of a low character, in spite of hearing the glories of the holy name, remains devoid of affection and love for the name, being immersed in the conceptions of I and mine in regard to the body. That person is also a offender to the holy name. So just being absorbed in our small world of aham-mameti is automatically offense to the holy name, because in this way we don't develop love and affection for the holy name and we remain materially attached. And that's why our spiritual advancement is very slow. Even after 20, 30 or more years, we can still remain a neophyte unless we transcend this false ego. So ahankara, aham-mameti, it's a concept that is also connected to the concept of kartritva. In Bhagavad Gita we have na kartritva, na karmati. Spirit soul is not proprietor of his activities, is not the doer. We are not the doer. Karta means the doer. So in 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita we have prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudatma kartaham ittimannate. The spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the 3 modes of material nature. So it is this ahankara, this false ego, that makes us think, I'm the doer, I'm the karta, I made it. Due to my hard work, I built my empire in this life. I earned my wealth. So all successful people think like that. They think they did it with their own hands, even if they inherited everything. And now they think, I can teach others, I can teach you how to become successful. So you have many seminars actually of these modern day coaches and counselors who teach people how to earn 10 lakhs a month or this and that, how to become successful in business. Opposite to this mentality of aham-mameti, opposite to kartritva, is concept of sakshitva. It's a concept found in Upanishads and also in Sankhya. It comes from sakshi. Maybe you know what sakshi means. Sakshi means witness. So sakshitva is a state of witnesshood. Generally, Supreme Lord is addressed as sakshi, the witness, Sakshi Gopal, for example. But also sometimes individual Atma, the soul, is also called Sakshi as well. So we find that in Drishya Vivek, one stotra written by Adi Shankaracharya. It's not that everything Shankaracharya wrote is completely impersonal or Mayavada. So he says, Rupam Drishyam Lochanam Drik. The eyes see forms, object of this world, so our material eyes. And then Tad Drishyam Drik tu Manasam. But your mind is seeing what your eyes are doing. And then Drishya Di Vritaya Sakshi. But Atma, the self, is the Sakshi, witness of the activities of the mind. Drik eva natu drishyate, and Atma is not seen by the mind or eyes or the 10 senses. So the Atma is the seer, actually, of the activities of the mind, of the activity of the senses. It's not that the eyes are those who are seeing. The Atma is the higher. But generally, all the conditioned souls are under impression that they are their own mind, that they are their ego. We are identified with our subtle body and think this identity of mine, that's me. My ego is the subject, is the doer, and the world is object of my sense gratification. But being a witness or being a sakshi means to shift our vantage point. The subject or the self is not anymore the ego or mind. Subject or the doer is the Atma. And I'm the witness of activities of the world. I'm the witness of activities of my body and activities of my senses. So I'm sakshi. I observe whatever is happening in my body, in the mind, and whatever is happening without the body and the mind. Subtle body, it's a dead matter, it's not conscious. It's like a gross body, just a little more subtle, but it's not live. But soul is the higher than the body. But the subtle body is always changing with the gunas, with the pranas, and that's why appears to be alive. But actually mind is the dead matter. So if we are identified with our own mind, we cannot, be on the level of the soul, and we cannot realize Krishna. So, conditioned soul thinks whatever is happening in my mind, this is me, this is my world. But when the mind becomes somewhat cleansed and sattvic, then the thoughts, they subside. These chitta vrittis, they become less and less. So when the mind becomes sattvic and peaceful, in that state, one can understand, I'm the Atma, I'm the Jiva, and the object of my observation is my mind. I'm the sakshi, I'm the witness of activities of my mind. So when some negative feelings and emotions come, I don't become overwhelmed by it. I just notice it, I observe it, but I'm not disturbed by it because I know it's just thoughts happening in the mind, but I'm not that mind. So the way to control, one of the ways to control the mind is just to observe it from the vantage point of the soul, from the vantage point of the Atma, by being the witness on the mind activities. So as long as we are not in this position of sakshi, to witness our mind activities, we will be identified with our body and the mind, and we will think that we are the doer, we are the karta, and then it will be very difficult to perform pure devotional service in this body and mind consciousness, because devotional service is the activity of the soul, so it has to be done on the level of the soul, on the spiritual platform. Srila Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur, he very much used to stress this concept of draṣṭā or drishya. He called it drik, drishya, vichar. Drik or draṣṭā means the seer, and drishya means the seen. So this concept extends one step further from the sakshitva concepts. As the soul, we might be the seer of our own mind and activities, but we cannot see the Lord. But the Lord is drik, is the one who sees us. So when we come to temple for the darshan, it's not that we are coming to see the Lord, we are coming for the Lord to see us. So the drik, drishya, which Saraswati Thakur said, those who understood this drik, drishya, vichar, that we are actually not the seer, that the Lord is the seer, and we are seen by the Lord, they understood the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. So we are the objects of Lord's darshan, and not that He is the object of our own darshan. But of course, if we are fortunate, as Prahlāda is, then the Lord will become the object of our darshan. He'll become visible to our own eyes, internally and externally. But by own effort, we cannot see what is higher than us. We cannot see the Lord by own effort. It has to be the mercy that comes from above. So this is descending process, or avaroha panta, not ascending process. So that's why it's very important to approach devotional service of bhakti without kartitva, abhiman, without the doership mentality. I will make it, I will do it, I will chant this many rounds, I will read this many chapters, I will perform this puja or that puja. This is still in the consciousness of the doer. Even I will chant the holy name. No, actually the holy name has to descend from above and to manifest on our lips. And then the holy name will chant us, so to say. The holy name will dance on the tongue. So once we understood that, it will become much, much easier. I'll just quote from Bhakti Sarthi Thakur. Whatever I have to say, my whole message is based on proper comprehension of this truth. But how few people have really understood this drig, drishya, vichar. So understanding not just theoretically, but realizing and practically applying in our life this drig, drishya, vichar, being free from doership mentality, and understanding that we are the observers of our mind, that we are the soul. We are not the body, we are not the mind. We are servant of Krishna. That requires some purification of heart. It requires steady and peaceful mind. There are some characteristics of pure mind. In the third canto, Lord Kapila, he lists them. He says, svachatvam, this is clarity or purity. This is first characteristic of pure mind. And Srila Prabhupada comments in purport, he says, in pure consciousness, one can perceive a slight reflection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Srila Sridhar Swami and Vishnu Thakur, they say in purport to this verse that when mind has this quality of purity, of svachatvam, then it has quality called bhagavam bimba grahitva. It has ability to catch the reflection of the Lord. That means sometimes in a pure mind, there will be a spurti, short vision of the Lord. A reflection of the Lord will be there. So one will be able to see sometimes a reflection of the Lord in the pure mind, if the Lord gives His mercy. And then pure mind also has a quality called avikaritvam. It has no vikaras, no transformations. It's without transformations. It's also free from sleepiness and distraction. If we chant and feel sleepy or distracted, that means that our mind is not yet pure. It has no quality of avikaritvam. And then last quality is called shantatvam, peacefulness or serenity. It's free from raga, dvesha, abhinavesha, from attachment and aversion that pollutes it. It's like pure sweet water is not polluted by foam that is on the top of the water. And how do we cleanse the mind to become pure like this? Chetu darpana marjanam, bhava mahadvagni nirvapanam. By chanting the holy name without offenses. By shravanam and kirtanam. Also by hearing the Lord's pastimes from the Bhagavatam. Okay, I will stop here if you have any comments or questions.
Hare Krishna, I want to ask, how is it that subtle body is transferred to the next body in reincarnation? This is sometimes
how the subtle body is transferred at the time of death. Yeah, we are living the gross body, and subtle body is, connected with the soul through ahankara. So as long as one is not liberated, he carries his subtle body consisting of the mind, intelligence, and false ego. He carries him in the next life. And then all the impressions from the previous life, they are stored in this subtle body. That's why through certain methods, process of, past life regressions or some other extraordinary things, one can remember the impressions of previous life, sometimes many previous lifetimes, because it's there in the chitta, all these impressions, the samskaras that we had through thousands of lifetimes, they're stored deeply, deeply in the subtle body, in the chitta. So if one knows how to, recover them, he can remember. And for example, Narada Muni, he remembers his previous life as a son of the maidservant, because his mind became completely pure to devotional service. He also remembered his life prior to this as Gandharva on higher planetary systems. So the one who has a pure mind, he can restore these lost samskaras. He can remember whatever he wants. But generally, conditioned soul, they're covered by ignorance, and in the next life, it's not easy to remember these previous life's impressions, and it has its own purpose. Otherwise, it will be very disturbing. If you remember all the traumas from so many previous lifetimes, we wouldn't be able to live normal in this life. We would just be thinking, oh, what I did then and what I did this. So it is actually good, and there is no need, to try to revive these memories. Although sometimes it's advised when people are having, certain traumas, bad dreams, nightmares, then sometimes they go for past life regression, and then they might get relief from these disturbing emotional states by remembering and releasing certain emotions from the previous lifetimes. Anyway, we want to be able to remember to remember Krishna. That's why remembering previous sanskaras is not that important. Yes, Mataji, please.
Thank you, Prabhu. You made so many important points. As I was listening, I was thinking that why do our hearts not change? We know so many shlokas, we know the philosophy, we've been chanting 20, 25 years, as you said, and we still remain neophyte, hard-hearted, mean-minded, envious, jealous, angry, greedy, lusty, so on, so on. So how, in spite of knowing so much philosophy, there's no change in my heart?
Yes, thank you. This is a very relevant question for many of us. We might be devotee for a long, long time, and still there is a very, very slight change. Why is this? It's excellent question. In the Bhagavatam there is a verse, why, in spite of the chanting of the holy name, the heart does not melt but remains like a iron, like a piece of ice. It must be understood that it's because of aparadhas, because of offenses to the holy name, that heart does not change, and the mind also does not change. So the process is very simple. If we chant the holy name without offenses, heart gets purified very, very quickly from all these negative things that you described. But if we commit offenses by chanting, even if we don't commit any other offense, but we remain inattentive, means we don't get really serious and absorbed in the chanting of the holy name, then again there is no purification. The purification is very slow because we are chanting Namaparad, and it takes a long, long time by chanting Namaparad to purify the heart. Many lifetimes one can chant Namaparad. So how to get out of this vicious cycle? Well, for the offenders, the holy name Padma Purana describes one remedy. Namaparada yuktanam. It says to chant, even if one is an offender, if he continues to chant constantly, without stopping, without ceasing, gradually his mind will give up the bad habits and get purified. And just, think, if you try to chant constantly, means whenever you're not doing anything, when you're walking in the street, taking a shower, eating, in the mind or externally, if you try to chant, mind will have no time for destructive activities, will have no time to do other things, will not have time to get absorbed in the material things. And gradually, if we persist, it will get purified. And the bad things, anarthas, will go away from the heart. Of course, chanting constantly is a difficult process, but once we come to the realization that nothing else helps, then we might adopt this process. So yeah, the answer is it's not that easy. The Krishna consciousness is simple, but to detach the mind from these attachments and so many anarthas from so many lifetimes, it's not easy. It requires a really strong determination, strong desire. Basically requires full sincerity. If one is fully sincere, then he will be able to do it. He will cast away all the obstacles, and he will, absorb his mind in Krishna, to chanting, to hearing, to serving in other ways. But it requires really, mature faith and a realization that I have no time to play around anymore. While we are young, we might be thinking, oh, I still have so many years. When I get older, I'll become serious. Now, yeah, let me be Krishna conscious, little enjoy life, because we are still young. But once we approach, above 50 and 60, and we should really get serious, because we don't have much more time left. And then, what if the death comes, and my mind is still, absorbed in so many foolish things? What will I think at the time of death? I will think about these things. And then the next birth is guaranteed. It's guaranteed. There is no way around it. We may count on a special causes mercy, but we should not count on that. It's very rare, actually, to, at the last moment of death, that Krishna comes and changes your consciousness completely. No, your consciousness has to be Krishna consciousness at the moment of death. And if I'm not Krishna conscious now, what is the probability I'll be Krishna conscious at the time of death? Not much. So we have to give, our full energy to become Krishna conscious as soon as possible, because we don't have much time. The world is in such a crazy state now. The wars, diseases, epidemics, so many things. Young people are also dying. So nobody has guaranteed lifespan. And especially if we are older, then we should really get serious. And if you really want, we can do it. Prabhupada said, if you really desire, if you're really determined, you can get back to Krishna in one lifetime. But we have to become that much determined. Okay, is there anything else? Yes, Prabhu, okay, the last question.
Yeah. Thank you for pointing out actually Ahambameti point. And then I was trying to understand one of the purport, in this purport Prabhupada is writing that Lord is pleased to appear before him in the form desired. So in one point it is seen that yes, Prahlāda Mahārāja desired to see Lord in this Narsim form, and we know also that all these forms are eternal, but the next moment also when I see the past time, Lakshmi Devi, all the different demigods, Shiva, Brahma, they were like unaware of this kind of form. So how to understand this one? That whether only Prahlāda Mahārāja was aware, or just for the past time Lord took this form?
Yeah, the Lord appeared in this form for protection of his devotees, specifically Prahlāda Mahārāja. And this form was most suitable to fight Nrsimhadev. It expressed Lord's transcendental anger towards him. So it is not necessary that Prahlāda specifically desired to see Lord as Nrsimhadev, because even before the Lord Nrsimhadev appeared, he saw him in a pillar. For example, before the Lord came out of the pillar, he could see the Lord in the pillar. It is not described exactly which form was that, and it's not also described exactly which form the Prahlāda meditated upon. But he appeared from the pillar as Lord Nrsimhadev, and Prahlāda worshipped since then he worshipped him as Lord Nrsimhadev. In Hari Varsha he worships him as Lord Nrsimhadev. So it's not only, our own desire, although Lord reciprocates with his own desire, but also he appears for many different reasons. One is to reciprocate the desire of devotee, another reason is also to perform your transcendental pastimes. The Lord wanted to enjoy the pastimes of fighting also. So Lord Varāha, he appeared not because anybody wanted him to become a boar, but it was the most suitable form to pick the Bhumandala from the Garbhodaka ocean, and he also wanted to fight Hiranyaksha. So it's both reasons. But generally, the Ishtadev, the form that we meditate upon, we go to that planet, and we come to the association of that form of the Lord. So Krishna Bhaktas, they go to Krishna, whether it means Dwaraka or Mathura or Goloka, depends on the mode of practice. And then if somebody is always thinking, I have some friends, who are very much into Lord Nrsimhadev, and although supposedly we are all Krishna Bhaktas, but still, even if you are a member of ISKCON, if all the time you are thinking about Nrsimhadev, talking about Nrsimhadev, doing puja for Nrsimhadev, then it's obvious that you will go to Lord Nrsimhadev. And I have some also other devotee friends who are very much into Lord Ramachandra, always listening Ramayana, this, that. So obviously they'll go to Ayodhya, because this is what they desire. This is how the Lord reciprocates. So it's our heart's desire that Lord reciprocates, and He has in unlimited forms. This, in the scriptures, the main forms are given. So whichever form we concentrate our mind upon, that form we will attain. So it's up to us to choose. But we are informed by the Acharyas and Prabhupada that the Krishna is the original form, and it's the most sweet and the most beautiful of all forms. So it's up to us whether we want to focus our mind on Krishna or some other form. I think this is all I can say. Thank you all very much. Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.